about Twitter. Once again, we're going to go back to the great hack of 2020, where a number of different verified accounts, major accounts, were hacked by a Bitcoin scammer. And we've got some more information on what actually happened there. So Twitter's slowly been revealing some of the things that happened, some of the details. We know this: 130 total accounts were targeted by attackers, and up to 36 of them, the attackers were able to access the DMs of those accounts, the direct messages. That's a pretty major step. That was something that we weren't sure of with the hack, whether or not that happened. Pretty much all the accounts were posting the same thing. We haven't heard any word about the DMs, but this is what they said. So up to 36 accounts did have their DMs actually accessed. Turn off your phone when you're doing live broadcast. And also, one of the big things was that there was an elected official in the Netherlands who actually had theirs hacked. And that's one of the big concerns that came down to this was, are officials going to be having, when you come to political officials, were any of theirs hacked? Because you did have, of course, Joe Biden, you had Obama, you had a number of different political officials who had theirs hacked and were posting these things, but that's the concern, whether or not the DMs were hacked. Now, they did say that it appears only to be the Netherlands official who had theirs accessed, so the rest of them were not political affiliates. But still, nonetheless, a lot of news coming out there with that. We've got all the details about that at digitaltrends.com. Continuing on here with trending news, let's talk about this. Coming up on July 27th, there's going to be a major summit for Congress, and this is because of antitrust investigations. Now, this is a pretty huge gathering that's going to be happening of people testifying before this committee, and that includes the CEOs of Amazon, Apple, Google, and Facebook, all going to be there. Yes, they're all going to be there. And this is before the House Judiciary Committee on July 27th. And now there are calls for Jack Dorsey to also be one of the people to appear there. And this is pretty major. When it comes down to that, this is because Jim Jordan of Ohio is calling for Dorsey to be added to the lineup, mainly because of what happened last week with the hack, but also just to be part of this antitrust investigation. This is a continuing thing that's been happening for a while now, of Congress and different officials wanting to investigate the net worth of these companies, whether they're squashing competition, and that's why it's going to happen. But still, at the same time, Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, Tim Cook, Jeff Bezos, and possibly Jack Dorsey all being in front of Congress on the same day for this antitrust hearing on July 27th. It's going to be a major event that a lot of people are going to be watching. We've got some analysis of that at digitaltrends.com, so take a look there. No word yet if Jack Dorsey is going to be one of the people, but still could be adding one more to that tech titan list that will be testifying on July 27th. Continuing on here with more Digital Trends Live, let's talk about Facebook. Facebook continues to make updates to a number of different platforms on their service, but this is one that goes for their move to fight Zoom. So to be a better competitor to Zoom, and this has to do with Messenger Rooms. So Messenger Rooms is something that they launched a while ago. It was a couple of months ago, I believe, back in April when this first rolled out. And it was the ability to have different, basically Zoom-like meetings. And now they're adding in some more features to that. So they're going to allow you to live broadcast those video calls with up to 50 participants, meaning you could stream these to either a Facebook page or a Facebook group or a profile. Any one of those you would be able to do, and you would be able to control who can participate in the call, who can view the broadcasts. You can add or remove participants, so that way you can kind of lock it down and prevent the Zoom bombing issue that happens with Zoom calls sometimes, although they have put in measures themselves to control that. But still, this shows how much of an impact that Zoom has had over the last several months during this pandemic, what all these other companies are trying to do to compete with them. You've got Facebook, you've got Google, Microsoft. Everybody wants to go after this, but this is Facebook putting this option right there for Messenger Rooms to stream it and broadcast it directly on your page, profile, or account. So definitely a pretty big move by them. That's going to be rolling out today, so you'll probably see that updated there if you use Messenger Rooms. Read more about it at digitaltrends.com. Continuing on with trending news, let's talk about Elon Musk. Elon, in the news right now, talking about Tesla. So Tesla had their earnings report go out, and a couple of big things for this. So one, they were profitable for, I believe, the fourth quarter in a row that they were profitable, so that's a big thing for them. He also made a statement saying that Teslas are too expensive. He said, quote, "What bugs me the most right now is that our cars are not affordable enough. We need to fix that. We're not trying to go bankrupt, but we're not trying to be super profitable either," saying that Teslas are too expensive. I want you to keep in mind that Elon Musk was briefly the 5th richest man in the world earlier this week with a net worth of about $78 billion. So but he does say that Teslas are too expensive. They want to get the price down. Going from that, we did get some updates on the CyberTruck. So there was a big competition going on about where the CyberTruck was going to be built, and it really kind of came down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Austin, Texas. Austin being the winner. Austin did win this competition from Tesla to where they were going to build their plant. So this is going to be happening in Travis County. It's about 2,000 acres of land is where they're going to be building this thing. They got $14.7 million in tax incentives to be there. But the CyberTruck is something that's going to be a very interesting entrant into the e-truck market. We've got a lot of other companies that are trying to compete with this, but as we all know, in case you forgot, the CyberTruck, it's there. It's going to be built. It's strange looking, but nonetheless, they're going to be getting these out. Now, they're going to start at $39,000. The mid-range model is $49,000, and there's a triple motor top-end version that's $69,000 for these. But again, they're going to start building these in Austin, so they've got to build the plant first, then they'll get rolling. We don't have a word on when exactly those are expected to come out, but nonetheless, the pathway is now being laid out for the CyberTruck to be on the roads soon. There you go. You can read more about that at digitaltrends.com. Continuing on with trending news, let's talk about streaming television, and that we all know is a very competitive market. But what about Plex? Plex now adding some more options into their robust platform. They've got now 80 free ad-supported live streaming TV channels that you can watch on the platform. Now, if you haven't used Plex before, Plex is kind of basically an amalgamation of a bunch of different services. You can utilize it for videos, for photos, for music, for podcasts. You can stream music through it. It's kind of a portal to stream a bunch of different things all at the same time through this one platform. And you can also share private videos on there as well, or movies or whatever you have. If you have some own personal movies, you can share them with other people through file sharing on there. Now they're adding in these free channels, 80 free ad-supported live streaming TV channels. They're going to have things such as Reuters, Yahoo Finance, and then some Fubo is going to be on, or Fubo, excuse me, Fubo is going to be on there. You've got the Bob Ross channel, which I did not know Bob Ross had his own channel, but nonetheless, that's something I think I support, the Bob Ross channel. And then a number of different platforms that'll be, a number of different streaming channels that'll be on there. But that is something that Plex, again, is doing to kind of add into this. There were rumors they could be going into a subscription model, but so far that's not happening. But that is something else you can do there. So we've got a guide for that at digitaltrends.com. You can go through and take a look at it. If you haven't used Plex, it is a very interesting platform. You can do a lot through it, but that's adding in one more thing there as they try to compete with everybody else. Moving on here for our final trending news topic, let's talk about the mission to Mars. And I'm not talking about the one that NASA is launching next week, the one that China just launched. So yes, China is sending a mission to Mars themselves, and it successfully launched. So this is what is called the Tianwen-1. So Tianwen-1, and that is the name of the mission itself. So it consists of a Martian orbiter, lander, and rover. They want to get these on there, so they have the orbiter above. The lander, if successful, would provide a pad for the rover to then go out and do its missions, which its missions are they're all going to kind of work together, and their missions are to explore the past of Mars to see maybe the possibility of life, what the terrain was like before, and a number of different things and scientific missions that go along with that. So if they are successful with this, they would be the only other space entity other than NASA to successfully carry out this mission. The Soviet Union had one that landed in 1971, only lasted for about 20 seconds. The ESA, the European Space Agency, has failed a couple of times. So this would be a pretty major feat if they're able to do it. And again, the U.S., NASA is launching scheduled in about a week of time. They've got a window of time for that, but earliest about a week. So these two, potentially two different missions could be landing about the same time on Mars. So definitely interesting on that. It's pretty exciting stuff. You can read more about it at digitaltrends.com.